100% during every town hall, so we expect the same respect. We have a special speaker here today who I'm just going to read a short little biography about him. I'll wait. I saw a lot of friend groups sitting together. Be mindful. If we have to split up a friend group or you have to be escorted out, it will be an infraction against the code of conduct. So just be mindful that we have a speaker that's coming today to give you his time. So I'm going to introduce Jorge Vega is the owner of Tri-State Barbershop in Port Jervis, New York. A barbershop that has become a trusted community cornerstone. Under his leadership, it has evolved into far more than a place to get a haircut. It has become a safe space, a gathering point where conversations turn into counsel. I hear speaking to my left. So I'll wait. It has become a safe space, a gathering point where conversations turn into counsel, where young men and women are reminded of their identity, and where community is strengthened one person, one moment, and one story at a time. But Jorge's impact extends well beyond the walls of his shop. He is the founder of J Vega 360, a transformational platform dedicated to mindset renewal, identity restoration, and leadership development. Through coaching, mentorship, and his powerful message, he has helped individuals break free from limiting beliefs, rebuild from life hardships, and step into their God-given purpose with confidence and resilience. He is also an author, mentor, faith-driven coach, and an advocate for community accountability. Jorge's message is shaped by lived experience, by knowing what it feels like to be overlooked, to be counted out, and to rise anyway. He teaches from a place of transparency, personal evolution, and a deep conviction that transformation is possible for anyone who chooses to show up for their own growth. And that is powerful. His life reminds us that real leadership is not about titles, it's about service. It's about giving back to the very place that shaped you. It's about ensuring the next generation does not have to start where we started, but can instead begin where we leave off. Today, as both a speaker and life coach, he stands as an example of what it looks like to invest back into your community with heart, with humility, and with vision. And at this time, I want us all to give a round of applause to Mr. Jorge Vega.
Tries to take my voice. I hear the whisper. Listen. Let's go. Clap your hands. Get them up. Get them up. Let's go. Let's turn up. Let's turn up the energy in this place. Let's go, Middletown. Let's go, Middletown. I will not fear. I will not hide. I will not shrink. I will not turn away. I will rise up to the occasion till each and every last one of you is saved. Cut the music. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Listen up. Everything them other rap cats be talking about, listen up, I done did it. The lifestyle I lived in was blinded by the riches. I walked amongst the wicked, walked the block with the biscuit. My soul was on the line, but I was willing to risk it. Sex, money, and drugs was at the core of my existence. I knew Christ existed, but I kept him at a distance. I made my decision. Listen. I made my decision. I forsake his forgiveness. You see, it was my world, my life. You see, the streets was my wife. I was married to the game. But I couldn't pay the price. Because all the money in the world couldn't buy eternal life. Working for Satan was like the shaking of dice. Became a slave to the night, irritated by the light. But something in my heart knew I had to get it right. Because you can't fulfill a vision if you don't have sight. This is the passion of the Christ. And the music got right. Ever since I made that change, man, my future's been bright. I'd rather die on my feet than to live on all fours. But I still get down on my knees when I'm praying to the Lord. When I analyze this world, that's what I'm talking about. When I analyze this world, I know there's gotta be more. They say united we stand and divided we fall. There's not a problem too big nor an issue too small. Yes, Jesus is the answer. He's the answer to them all. I remember being locked down, trapped behind four walls, caged like an animal and treated like a dog. I didn't recognize his voice, but I began to hear him call. Then he led me in his word, and I knew it was him for sure. You are now about to witness the true power of the Lord. What's the meaning of life now? I know what it's all for. Created in his image and delivered from my sickness, and he gave me understanding to them times when I was slipping. And he brought me to this point because I was meant to be a Christian. That's why I thank the Lord for the time I spent in prison. Listen up. My name is Coach George. I go by J. Vega 360. Listen, I'm a lifelong Middletown resident. All right? I was born in Davidmore Heights, and I was raised in Summerfield. I lived on just about every block in this town. All right? You guys heard my bio. You heard my bio, but that didn't come easy. That's a story of transformation. Because where I'm at today isn't where I started out. I'm a two-time convicted felon. I'm a former gang member. All right? So listen, quiet down, hold it down. I'm gonna tell, hold up. I'm gonna tell y'all like I told the first group. All right? I don't come in here demanding your respect. I wanna earn your respect. All right? Because respect isn't given, it's earned. And a lot of times what happens is we come in and we encounter young people and we demand respect from them without asking them for their respect. So I'm going to come before you as humble as I know how. And I'm going to ask you to show me some respect while I'm standing up here today and I'm pouring my heart out. Because that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to pour my heart out for you young people and give you everything. I'm going to give you my life experience. I'm going to give you what I went through so that way you ain't got to go through it. Because I'm going to tell you, any real man that's been through any real level of significant pain isn't going to sit back and watch the next generation bleed on the battlefield by themselves. I hear the voice of your generation crying out. I hear the cries of your generation crying out, searching for answers. I know what it is to be in your seat. I know what it is to be messed up. I got to tell you, I grew up poor. I grew up with a single mother. My mother was a victim of domestic violence. My father wasn't in the picture. He was too busy doing his own thing and left me to learn to be a man on my own. Left my mother to raise two kids on her own. She was broken. She was beaten. She was battered to the point to where it caused her to have a mental illness. I remember as a kid going to see my mother in mental institutions because she had breakdowns. Because of the pressure of raising two children on her own after everything that she'd been through from the hands of the man that was supposed to love her and protect her. And he left her to raise two kids on her own in a cold world, growing up in the projects, growing up in poverty. And as a result of my mother's pain and everything that she went through, she turned to drugs. She turned to substance abuse to try to numb that pain. So that way she didn't have to feel what it was that she went through. So a large part of my life, I dealt with my mother being a drug addict. I dealt with my mother having mental health issues. I dealt with different individuals, different boyfriends coming in and out of the picture because my mother was looking for love in all the wrong places and searching for love on all the wrong faces. So I had different individuals coming in and out of my life. I seen the arguing. I seen the fighting. I know what it is to be laying in your bed as a kid at night and you hear your parents and your mother and whoever it is in the other room over there arguing and you hear them on the walls and you're laying there in fear because you don't know what's going on and you don't know how to respond to that situation. That's the pain that I come from. That's what I had to deal with growing up. I had an older sister. My sister wasn't really there. My sister was in and out of jail at a young age, as a teenager. My sister was in and out of jail, running away, dealing with things on her own and in her own manner. But I tell you one thing, where I started isn't where I'm going to finish. You see, that pain turned into my purpose, and you have become my passion. I exist for you. I went through what I went through so that way your generation doesn't have to. I don't want anybody in here to feel like they're alone. I don't want anybody in here to feel like they're searching for answers and they don't know where to find them. I don't want nobody to be so blinded by their pain that they can't see the helping hand that exists right in front of them. I was telling the ninth graders, I said, you guys are so fortunate that you have so many staff members inside of this school that actually care, that want to make a difference, that are there, that are extending their hands, and they want to help you. But I get it. When you're so bent up with emotion, when you're so bent up with anger, when you're so bent up with heartache and pain, it's hard to see past that. It's hard to see past the darkness that surrounds you in your life. It's so hard to see past the confusion. It's so hard to see past the fear. It's so hard to see past your limiting beliefs. I know what your pain is like. I know what you're carrying. I know some of you in here went through the same thing you're going through the same thing that I went through. I know some of you in here, you don't have no father in the picture. Your father is absentee. And a lot of times it hurts because we know that that's a choice that they made. Because we all have choices. We can either stick it out and we can fight through the adversity and we can overcome every obstacle necessary in order to preserve the lineage and the legacy of our family, or we can be a coward and we can walk away. Now, I made my fair share of mistakes. A part of me being in the streets and selling drugs and going to prison cost me the opportunity to raise my family underneath one roof. I had to co-parent because I didn't realize while I was out there chasing the dollar that I was sacrificing what was really important. I was young, I was dumb, and I was wild. I was following suit. I was doing what the streets told me to do. I was doing what I seen everybody else do. And I'm not going to lie to you. At that stage in my life, I didn't think it was wrong because it's all I ever knew. It's all I ever seen. And for some of you, y'all growing up in that same madness to where all you see is violence, where all you see is darkness, where all you see is drug activity, where all you see is poverty. And you accept that and you take that on and you let that become your norm and you begin to carry that burden as if it's your own. You begin to have limited sight. You don't see a future because the only thing you can see is your right now. The only thing that exists is the present moment. Because in this moment, I gotta eat. In this moment, I gotta make something happen. In this moment, I need to feel good. Because sometimes the pain is too much to bear. Now, even as a young man, I was full of potential. Full of potential. I played football here, 1994 Section 9 champions. Yeah. Listen, that's one of the things, man. If we got any football players in here, I'm gonna let you guys know, man. Y'all gotta raise the standard for Middletown football. Y'all gotta start breeding the championship culture around here, because that's what you're made of. That's what it means to be Middletown tough. All right? So listen, Being full of potential, I didn't know what potential was. I didn't know what potential looked like. I had a lot of people speak into my life and tell me what I was capable of. But it didn't make sense to me. It was a foreign language. The only thing I understood was what the hood was speaking, what the streets was giving me. You understand what I'm saying? And while I was out there trying to figure out how to become a man with no father there, the gangs was right there. The gang life was right there. It shaped my identity. It told me who I was to be. It gave me structure. It gave me a foundation. It gave me principles to be able to stand upon, to make me feel like I was a man. I came in and it made me empty promises that was never fulfilled because it promised me the light, but it introduced me to darkness. And I'm speaking from the heart, because I know that's a problem that we're facing right now in this generation. I know that's a real problem that's taking place in these schools. And right now, all you're doing is searching for community. You're searching for connection. You want to be connected to individuals that care, like-minded individuals that are going through the same thing that you are going through in order to help each other feel and navigate whatever it is that you're dealing with in the direction that you're heading. So I'm not faulting you for making that decision, because I made that decision. And I still have some lifelong brothers and friends that I'm connected to, even though I no longer live that lifestyle. Because I know that you cannot serve two masters in this life, because you're either going to hate one or love the other. So it came to a point in my life to where I had to make a choice. I told my mama this. I said, Mom, we're going to make our pain count for something. We didn't just go through what we went through for no reason. We didn't just suffer through what we suffered through for no reason. It's got to count for something. There's got to be a reward attached to our pain. And my athletes know that when you show up and you show out even when you don't want to, when you're in that weight room and you're pushing them weights, getting stronger, the weight gets heavier. It's harder to bear. But at the end of the day, you come out on the other side stronger. And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. Now I tell you, as a result of going through what I went through and having a lack of information on how to be able to navigate that territory, I made many poor decisions in my life. I dropped out of high school after my second time in 11th grade. I played football for Pine Bush. Got into a fight on the football field because I had no emotional control. Somebody did something I didn't like, I'm popping off. We're gonna handle this real quick. You're gonna know that I'm not the one. But it cost me. It cost me. Because when I got arrested on the football field, I come back to school the next day and the coach tells me I'm off the team. So at that point, I didn't have nothing else. I was living on my own at 16, 17 years old. I had my own apartment. I was making about $2,500 a week selling weed. So I didn't feel like I needed school. I'm like, yo, I'm making more money than most of the teachers. Like, if I can't play football, I'm out. And I left school. Not knowing that that was a pivot point that would send my life in a direction that I wasn't prepared to travel. Not long after that, I began developing an arrest record. Minor things, here and there, little petty things, you know? Disorderly conduct, fighting, possession charge, weed charge. But I'm gonna tell you, that's how it starts out. That's how it starts, with things that you can handle. Eventually, you go from selling weed, to selling coke, to selling crack. Now you're in the game. Now you're in the game. Now the consequences for your actions are that much more severe. And in 1998, 2 years after I dropped out of high school, I caught my first felony drug conviction. Now, once, you know, in my time, once you get that F on your record, man, it limits your possibilities in terms of what you're able to become. Nobody wants to hire nobody with a felony on their record. So now, because I pissed away my potential, and I chose to do the streets, do what the streets said, now I forfeited any opportunity that I could have had to be able to put myself in a stable position and to be able to build a life
that I could be proud of. But hey, like I said, where I come from, that was the norm. In my family, we didn't graduate high school and go to college. We went straight to jail, pass and go and not collecting $200, like Monopoly. There was no male high school graduates in my family, but there was plenty of felons. There was plenty of people that have been to jail. You know, and I'm gonna say this, and like I say, you know, I tell this to my mother, I don't say the things I say to try to shame her, but I remember my mother not coming to my football games. But yet you come visit me in jail? I want you to think about that. You don't come to my football games when I'm doing good, but yet you'll come and visit me in jail. You'll drive 4 hours to come visit me in a correctional institution. That's the reality. And that's the reality a lot of y'all are facing. That's the position a lot of y'all may be in right now. Like I said, the first session, man, it was turned up. I was really turned up, man. It was an adrenaline rush to get out here and talk to these young people. But this one, I feel like it's more intimate. I feel like it's more personal. I feel like there's a deeper connection here to what I'm saying is really resonating with you young people. And I'm here to let you know that where you are right now isn't your final destination. It doesn't have to be your final destination. That you were created for so much more. There's so much more potential that lies on the inside of you. You were created for destiny. You were created for greatness. And you have the seed on the inside of you. You just have to cultivate that seed. You have to water that seed. You have to nurture that seed. You have to protect that seed. So that way you can establish your roots. And that's where you're at in this season of your life. Because everything that you're going through is preparing you for who you're going to become tomorrow. And that's one of the things that we want to talk about here when I get into my talk, because, you know, as a result of what I went through and going through my personal development, because I'm not going to lie to you, a lot of this stuff didn't come to me until my 30s and 40s. I'm 47 years old. I'm going to say that again. A lot of the stuff that I'm teaching you and talking to you about, I didn't get until my 30s and my 40s. I didn't decide to abandon the street life until I was 30 years old. A father, been to jail, gave my life to the Lord. But I didn't have that mental shift, that paradigm shift, that mindset shift, that mindset makeover. Didn't happen until I touched 30. And I'm still on the journey, and that's one of the things that I want you guys to know, that life is a journey. Sometimes we focus so much on the destination, on where we want to be, we forget that the value is in the journey, because it's about who we become along the way. Once you set your mind and you purpose your mind on a particular destination, you say, that's where I'm going, you have to know that you're going to get there if you persevere and you faint not. If you press in, if you put in the work, if you do what's required, you will reach your goals. You will reach your destination. But right now, I got to teach you how to navigate the clutter. I got to teach you how to navigate the noise. I got to teach you how to navigate the darkness. So that way you can become a pro at life. You know, far too often, we're teaching you how to be a pro basketball player, or a pro football player, or a pro this and a pro that. But nobody's teaching you how to be a pro you. We're teaching you everything else, math, science, history, this, that, and the third, but we're not teaching you nothing about you to help you navigate your personality, to understand how you learn, how do you process information, what's your outlook on life. How can we meet you where you're at, so that way we can begin to shape your mind and prepare it for the greatness that awaits you. So the first step in becoming a pro in the program that we have is for your personality, your identity. And a lot of times when you grow up in the environments that I grew up in, you don't know who you are. You only know what culture tells you. You only know what hip-hop tells you. When you put on your headphones and you rocking out and they say, you know, this, that, and the third, and now you begin to adapt that mentality. You begin to adapt that identity. I've seen many cowards become lions. That's what we used to do. A dude who want to get down, we'll put him down, He could have been soft in the beginning, but we're going to train him up and make him a beast. That's what the gang culture is about. That's what it does. And it tells you who you're supposed to be. But each and every one of you here are an individual. Each and every one of you here are unique. You were uniquely formed and fashioned for a very specific purpose. Each one of you have a calling upon your life, and each one of you have a destiny. Like I was talking with Christian here, I said, figure out what it is that you want to do early and commit to it. Map out your process, step by step. So that way, every step you take, you know that you're moving in the right direction. Then at the same time, you got to be prepared for what? The detours, right? And the detours are the obstacles and the blockage. Sometimes there's construction going on. Sometimes there's road work. Sometimes there's accidents, and you may have to go around. It may take you a little bit longer, but the detour is always designed to get you right back on course. Because you're committed to excellence. You're committed to the promise that you made for yourself, to be able to show up every day and not stop till you get what it is that you came for. Next, we have our reactions, and I like to say responses. Because when you look at reactions, that means that we're acting in accordance or in sequence with something else that happened. And I don't never want my actions to be dictated by the actions of others. I don't never want my actions to be dictated by my circumstances. So I want to respond. And a lot of our responses come from our emotions. And that's one of the things that I want to talk to you about, man, because I know as young people, that's what we deal with. We deal with emotional dysfunction. We deal with emotional chaos. Not understanding those emotions when they show up. Not understanding how to process them. I told the other group, I said I used to love anger. And sometimes I still do. That's one of my weaknesses. I got flaws. I'm not all the way there yet. Anger for me was like a drug. I get mad, it gives me an adrenaline rush. It sets off endorphins in my mind, and it makes me feel good. But the end result is always bad. I'm always left with guilt, shame, remorse. So I've learned how to control that. I've learned how to identify my emotions, and I've learned how to control them. So that way they don't control me, and they don't limit me from the results that I'm able to get in life. Because I'll tell you, like I told the last group, all of us are only one decision away from having our lives completely changed in either direction. And I pray here today that as I speak to you guys, that you make a choice, that you make a decision to become the best version of yourself, to be willing to show up, to be willing to participate, to be willing to go all out for you. It's not for your teachers. It's not for your administrators. It's not for your moms. It's not for your pops. You got to do it for yourself. Because if your personal development and your personal growth isn't your motivation, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So once we figure out this emotional aspect of our lives, next it goes to our outlook. Our perceptions. How do we perceive the world? How do we see the world around us? What is our mindset? What is our outlook? How does that shape our reality? Awareness. In all three of those components, awareness is the bridge that connects them all. Awareness is the starting point of change and transformation. The power is yours to choose, and you have to remember that in any given moment, any given situation, any given scenario, you have the power to choose. And I want you to know that decisions decide destinies. You're going to hear me use that word a lot, destiny. Because a destiny speaks of greatness. It speaks of something of value. We all have a future. It can be good or bad. We all have an expected end. It can be good or bad. But there's something about that word destiny that just resonates with me. And it speaks to all that we have the ability to be able to come once we're able to master ourselves and become a pro at life. What you become aware of, you can control. And sometimes that's why it's hard to be able to control your feelings. Sometimes it's hard to be able to control your emotions because you're not aware of them. And today I'm going to teach you a couple of steps that's going to help you dial in to be able to identify those emotions. So that way, as you become aware of them, you can take control of them. And once you take control of them, you can begin to change them. And once you change them, you now change your outcomes in life. 3 levels of awareness. We have awareness of your thoughts, awareness of your emotions, and awareness of your actions. Does anybody see the correlation, how they all tie in together? All right, so our thoughts are rooted in our personality and who we are. And each one of you are different. You know, sometimes that's the problem that I have with the traditional education system, is that they put you all in one classroom and expect you to be the same. And there's no individual attention that's given to you to help you deal with the issues that you're dealing with in your life. Sometimes the curriculum isn't designed to be communicated in a way that's going to resonate with you in the way that you learn. And then we see that you don't get it. And then once you don't get it, you get bored, you get frustrated, you start acting out. Maybe we're not doing our job correctly in connecting with you in the way that you desire based upon your learning style. And inside of our program and our curriculum, we teach that with the Myers and Briggs, where there's 16 different personality types, where people respond differently. Awareness of your thoughts, awareness of your emotions, and awareness of your actions. All right? Awareness of your thoughts. Every action starts with a thought. The way that you think shapes the way that you see yourself, the way that you see the world, and it shapes your future. If your thoughts are filled with I can't, I'm not good enough, nobody cares, you're building a cage around yourself. Nobody has to put you in a prison. You built your own prison. You trapped yourself in with your limiting beliefs and your negative self-talk. And a lot of times we do that because we haven't succeeded. I used to do that all the time because I never got the results that I was looking for in a positive light. I built a prison inside of my mind that told me that this is my only option. This is all I can do. I'm going to hustle for life. I'm going to bang for life. I'm going to get it for life. That was the mindset. It was a lie. I believed it. I bought into it. It cost me. It cost me dearly. Everything starts with a thought. And I want you guys to know that, today is the day that you break free from allowing your thoughts to torment you. How many people here deal with that? You hear these little voices in your head that tell you that you're not enough, that you don't measure up, that you'll never be able to do it, that you'll never be able to accomplish it. You come from a poor family, you come from brokenness, your father's not in the picture. You have all these excuses, all these things that whisper in your ear that keep you stuck, that keep you in a position, that keep you from moving forward and keeping you from advancing. We're going to take every thought and we're going to learn how to hold it captive. Start catching those thoughts. You have to ask yourself, is this helping me or is this hurting me? And sometimes that split second makes all the difference. When I think about some of the things that I did in my past, things that could have been prevented, situations I didn't have to get myself into, if I would have took a second, if I would have stepped back, if I would have evaluated the situation, if I would have been able to see it for what it was, and then make the right decision, not making decisions that were rooted in pride, not making decisions that were rooted in ego, not making decisions that was rooted in my reputation, not rooted in what other people would think about me. And I think that's one of the problems that we face, is that we're so worried about what other people think about us and how they're going to perceive us, that we sacrifice and we forfeit ourselves. And like I said, man, you got to know you're special, you're unique, you're gifted, you're talented. The world is at your fingertips right now. You have the opportunity to become whatever it is that you want to be. All you have to do is set your mind to it and say, that's what I'm going to do and I'm going to get it done. You have to be purpose-driven. You have to be fueled by something greater than yourself. Your why has to be big enough. For me, when I made the change and I made the transition, was to make sure that my daughter didn't have to go through nothing that I went through. But in the beginning, when I was unaware, my daughter was going through everything that I went through. And that used to bother me because I used to try to figure out, how am I so much like this man that I never knew? I knew my father's history. You know how it is when somebody's, when they something in the streets, everybody's always talking about how he gave it up. Oh, your father was this, your father was that. I didn't care, I don't know him. He don't send me a birthday card, Christmas present, never called just to see how I'm doing. How did my life turn out to be something like his? And then once I became aware, I said, something has to change. I have to break this cycle because I don't want my child to experience the same pain that I went through. But in the very beginning, I put her through that pain by being incarcerated, by being separated from her mother. A lot of times, man, our parents are suffering because they're trying to figure out life while trying to raise a child. How many of you here have younger brothers and sisters? Right? And it's always the little one gets treated better. Like, yo, you ain't treat that one the way you treated me. You know what I'm saying? We get that. I'm the youngest, so I got it pretty good considering, because my sister used to get tore up. I hear the stories all the time. But that happens as a result of a parent trying to be a parent while still trying to figure out life. And then they get to a point to where they make better decisions, and then they're raising the younger one a little bit better than what they raised you. You had to bear the brunt of the experience for your brothers and sisters to be able to enjoy what it is that they enjoy. Right? So, like I said, I made those mistakes. I made them. And as a man, I apologize to my children. I go to them and I ask them to forgive me for the ways that I have failed you, in the areas of your life where I have failed you, where I didn't show up the way that you needed me to show up, where I didn't do what you needed me to do in that exact moment. Because I'm human, and I understand that I'm on a journey and that I'm learning every day, and my goal is to become better. But then through my own experience, I begin to hear the cries of a generation, your generation. I begin to hear your cries. I began to feel your pain. I had a brief stint with working in the juvenile justice system, working with young people like yourself. And when I got in there, I went in there wanting to make a change and to have an impact. And I took the time to speak with these young people and ask them questions and see what it is that they were going through. And some of the stories that I heard from these kids, they haunted me when I went home at night. 12-year-old kids locked up with 18-year-olds. And I'm listening to their experiences. Some of them finding parents overdosed. Some of them finding siblings shot in the head in the house. Some of them sexually abused. And I realized I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to find a solution to be able to help this generation break free from everything that is designed to hold them back. It's the same way that you got people that are there that want to see you prosper, there is an enemy out there that wants to destroy you. And a lot of times when the enemy wants to destroy us, he attacks us in our thoughts. The things that nobody knows about, the things that go unspoken. And I know a lot of y'all deal with it. I can tell just by the way that you're looking at me. A lot of y'all wrestle with your own thoughts. And that's why I say we gotta have a mindset makeover. When it comes to your thoughts, once you see the pattern, you're able to change it. I was able to identify the pattern in my life that I was taking. I was able to see the path that I took clearly. I knew that wasn't the way. So I come over here. That one looks a little bit better. It doesn't look like that one. So I came over here and I gave this one a try. And no matter what path you choose to take, there's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be adversity. There's always going to be challenges. And in the beginning, I used to run from the challenges. I used to run from those things that were designed in order to make me the person that I needed to be in order to get to where I had to go. How many athletes we got in here? All right. As an athlete, you got to value practice. You have to value practice. Because practice causes you to show up every single day It requires discipline, doing it even when you don't want to. It's easy to show up when the lights is on Friday night, it is game time, and you strap on the pads, and you put on the jersey, and you get ready to go to war. But the true champions are made in practice. The ones who show up when nobody else is looking. The ones who put in the work when nobody's clapping for them. Practice is what produces the champion. The journey is what's going to produce the greatness that lives on the inside of each and every one of you. So I challenge you here today to stop avoiding the hard stuff. Stop avoiding the challenges. Climb over those obstacles. Run through those barriers. Let nothing keep you or stop you from reaching your goal. It's a mindset. Champions have a mindset. Kobe had that Mamba mentality. And that mentality is what set him apart and caused him to be great. And the problem is, a lot of us, especially at this age, are too busy trying to fit in when we was created to stand out. I'll say that again. A lot of us at your age are too busy trying to fit in and find your place in the crowd when you was created to stand out. You was created to lead. You was created to be an example for other people your age to be able to see what is possible. That's what I'm doing now as a grown man, 47 years old. I got gangsters, man. I got dudes that are still in the streets that follow me and say, you are inspiring me. You give me hope. Now, mind you, we're almost 50, and these dudes are still in the streets. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine wasting a half a century of your life living for the wrong reasons? That will not be your destiny. That will not be your portion in the land. The next step I want to talk about is your emotions. And this is a very, very strong position inside of what it is that I do and I teach, because I was a very emotional individual. My emotions controlled me. I didn't control them. And I want you to know emotions aren't a bad thing. We all have them. Everybody here has an emotional cycle. Those emotions are the messages that you need to be able to pay attention to be able to tune into, to be able to gauge an understanding of how you're responding to the different circumstances that take place in your life. A lot of times when we make decisions based upon our emotions, we're not reacting to the situation. We're reacting to that emotion in the way that it made us feel. I want you to catch that. A lot of times when we're going through things, we're not reacting to the situation. We're reacting to the emotion in the way that it made us feel. If somebody disrespects you, it could have been something stupid. But because you felt like, oh my God, he disrespected me, everybody's watching, I gotta do something, now you're gonna go handle your business, and now you gotta deal with the consequences. I'm gonna tell you something, every choice comes with consequences. You get to choose what you wanna do, but you don't get to choose the consequences. Most of the time, they're already predetermined. They're already mapped out. If you don't understand what you feel, your feelings start to run your life. Anger, frustration, sadness, they all come from somewhere. Joy, peace, happiness, they all come from somewhere. And we want you to learn how to be able to dial in on those emotions so that way you can begin to change the narrative of your life and begin to position your life and put it in the direction that you want it to travel. Teaching point. This is something that I teach the pause. Between thought, emotion, and action, there's always a split second to where you can run through a mental filter to help you make better decisions. That pause becomes your superpower. I wish I knew this when I was younger. I made so many mistakes as a young person. But then again, I can't even look at it like that because it's those same mistakes that gave me an opportunity to be here standing in front of you today. So if that's what I had to go through in order to be here for you, it was well worth it. I'll do it again and again and again and again and again. Because my hope and my goal is if I can only reach one of you, that's more than enough for me. If I can only inspire one of you, that's more than enough for me. If I can help just one of you change your perspective on life and to begin to move in a different direction, it's more than enough for me. When you pause, you give yourself permission to think before you speak, and you respond instead of reacting. That's emotional maturity, and that should be the goal, to be able to focus on those emotions and begin to mature in that area of your life, so that way they no longer have control over you. Emotion, pause. Once you pause, we're now going to identify. Emotional awareness equals naming the emotion. Naming the emotion, identifying it, locating it. Where is it coming from? What is it rooted in? Understanding it. How is it making me feel? Once we have that understanding, now we can respond accordingly. Because not every good thing is, and not everything that happens to you is going to be a good thing. It's not going to be designed to prosper you. Like I said, you have an enemy for your soul. You have an enemy of your destiny that wants to hinder you and keep you from reaching your full potential. But we're going to give you the steps that you need to succeed. Awareness of your actions. The first step to mastering your action is recognizing how you react to your emotions. Are you the type to lash out? We got any crash outs in here? We got any pop-offs in here? I see it. I see it. Raise your hand. It's all right. It's all right. I get it. Listen, I get it. But I'm telling you this much. Listen, I'm telling you this much for the ones that raise your hand. You better learn how to get it in check. You better learn how to get it in check fast. You better learn how to correct that behavior fast. Because I'm telling you, the results that are going to come from it are going to cost you years off your life.
All right, let's quiet down.
Are you the type to shut down? That when things happen, instead of facing the challenge, you run from it, you shrink. You go off in the corner somewhere and you sit and you throw yourself a pity party. These are all real situations and real scenarios. These are the things that we go for. Becoming aware of your actions always allows you to choose your response. You can't always control what happens to you. I can't control the way that I was raised. I can't control the things that I went through. I can't control what my mother was allowing into the house. But what I could control, I didn't control, because when it came time to make critical decisions for my life, I made the wrong choices. And it cost me. But you can always choose your response. Now that I'm more mature, now that I have a better understanding, I make better choices, I make better decisions, I have better outcomes. My life is moving in the direction that I had always hoped and planned for. My child is proud of the man that her father has become. And that's everything to me. The people in my community are proud of the man that I've become because these people know me out here. There are teachers in this school, administrators that are here that know me. They know what I've been through. They know my story. Awareness of your thoughts, your emotions are the bridge between what you feel and what you do. It separates people from who react from people who respond. It separates people who survive from people that rise. And I'm going to tell you this in closing. Survive